Hey, Dima, how you doing there?
Hello, Rob. Happy Pride Month. We celebrated it towards the end.
Happy Pride Month. Happy Wednesday. We were talking about it, backstage. We're gonna bring some color.
Yes,
I know. I decided to wear earth tones, but we're gonna bring some flair today, right?
we do. Well, you got all the yellow behind you. At least you got.
We got some. We got some. We got it. You know what? I'm really excited because you kind of amped me up about our guest today.
Yes, I can't wait to hear.
And I had another friend tell me too, this is going to be an amazing guest. So, I mean, I think I have to trust y'all.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
It's going to be pretty easy to fall in love with Chris. Can you, I mean, I kind of want to get started. We've been wasting time. It's been all month. Let's get going. What do you say?
Go on. Let's get Chris on.
All right. Let's bring Chris on. Chris, come on, my man.
Hey.
There we go. Chris, how's it going? Happy Wednesday.
It is going good, and the puppy is getting excited as well. So, yeah, how are y'all?
Great. So, Chris, we've been waiting to talk with you, and I'm so glad that our friend Orhan connected us. I invited him to be on the show, and he said, no, maybe you need to have Chris. And I had no idea about the work that you're doing in Baton Rouge. Totally no idea. Until now, I started following you, and I'm like, wow, this is so great. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your journey, and then we'll get to talk about your amazing work.
Well, I just have to start off by saying it's not just my work. There's a whole team of us that do everything Pride related, but it's a small team, and we're all really close friends, which makes it even more awesome to do. But I just started volunteering a couple of years ago, and then our founder, Tom Merrill, decided, hey, I'm retiring from my regular job. I'm taking a step back from this. Here, you do it. And it's just been that way since. And it's been this awesome journey of learning and helping me discover my true authentic self and helping others discover their authentic self as well, which is quite amazing for me, to see somebody at the first Pride that I was in charge of discover, hey, I really am not happy with myself, and going through their morphing and transitioning to discover, hey, I am a trans individual. And now I'm really good friends with Noah. And to see their journey, something at an event that I helped to put on, help somebody find their true self, was just quite awesome. And that's something that just thinking of those things just propels me to keep doing and keep moving.
Wow.
Yeah. I can talk about that.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It is. It's a difficult gift because, we are in the Deep South, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, so you just got to keep rolling with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like Dima. He said true authentic self. I mean, there's a part of this that's self-discovery that I imagine you get to be a part of, though, Chris. Like, that's exciting. That's kind of fulfilling. And I can imagine getting a chance to see that on your first one or many to come on this. That's got to be something special.
Oh, it is.
Back with the purpose.
It is. And then, to see everybody on our Pride team, their ideas come into fruition that's helping the community, and to watch them grow, and to see who they are is even more amazing. It's not just me that's getting anything out of it. It's everybody around me.
Yeah. I agree with you about the South. So when I came here, that's one of the things I was shocked about. All the resistance to the LGBTQ plus community and how much they have to continue to mask their own identity just to be accepted. So
right.
Tell us about your organization. Tell us more, and then I have some specific questions I want to ask.
Yeah.
I've been waiting.
Oh, I'm excited. So Baton Rouge Pride started off just as Pride Fest, and it was a secular outreach of Metropolitan Community Church. And if you're not familiar with MCC, it was a church started by and run by the LGBTQ plus community, which, means that, you know, even though you are identifying as an LGBTQ plus, that doesn't mean you're not religious. So we started off as a secular outreach with Tom, and over the years, you know, we grew from a little outdoor picnic at Magnolia Mound to Catfish Town to now the River Center. And now we take over all of the River Center. You know, we went from a few hundred people to last time was over 15,000 people throughout the day came through the doors in Baton Rouge. But even though we've not had Pride Fest for 2 years because of COVID, which does suck, I hate it. We are, you know, kind of morphing into a community resource as well from our LGBTQ plus business directory. So people can find safe places, because it's important, you know, to know where the safe places are, the safe businesses, to Queer Conversations, which is our newest thing, which is a brainchild of a team member, Caleb. All his thing, 21 years old, he just graduated from LSU, and this was his thing, you know, having a web series where we're touching on difficult conversations that are really tough in our community. You know, we have business after hours, we've done drag brunches, drag queen story time. There's so many different little things that when you put them together, it's this huge umbrella of fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't wait to start participating. So you said 1,800? You have 1,800 people?
1,500. 15,000 people. 15,000 people.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah, throughout the day, it was jam-packed. It was awesome. We had over 70 vendors in the resource fair. We had a whole arts fest. We had drag queen story time. We worked with one of our sponsors, Fertility Answers, on doing a couple seminars for same-sex couples to grow a family. You know, because that is something that eventually my husband and I do want to do. Even though we just got married 6 months ago, kind of got to get there. But to know there's these resources out there for the community is really important.
And so when did you say Baton Rouge Pride was established? Like what year was the
I can't tell you.
Started?
You know, I can't tell you the year without doing the math, but if we would have done it this year would have been the 16th year.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
It's an ongoing thing. It's an organization that's slowly growing, all volunteer run. Everybody, you know, has a day job. I have a day job. I work in the tech industry. We have Carlos, random man, who does 99.9% of all of our artwork. You know, I love to get Carlos some alcohol because he comes up with ideas, and he's the one behind every drag show. He doesn't get enough credit for it. He does a lot of nonprofit work. He's been doing nonprofit LGBT work in Baton Rouge since before Pride. And his day job is he works in GIS. So he sits behind a computer and he goes out in the field and does awesome stuff, you know, but he volunteers a lot. We have other Pride team members like Bobbi Crouch, who her day job is actually with one of our biggest sponsors, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, or AHF. She's a specialty pharmacist. And her passion is HIV awareness, prevention, and treatment. And she uses that, you know, to her power with Pride to make sure that we have testing. Not just at Pride Fest, but all of our events that we can have testing at. So it's important that the youth remember, you know, hey, get tested so that we don't have what our previous generations had. Like my previous generation in the 80s, you know, with the HIV epidemic. Now we have PrEP. You know, it's getting that awareness out. So that's one of her big things. And then we have Caleb, who just graduated from LSU with Queer Conversations. And we have a new team member, Cole, who's just about to take on all of our social media aspects. And he is a pre-law student at LSU. So it's a small team. We are growing, and it's just to make sure that we have fun as well.
Wow. Love it. So I'm glad that you mentioned that it started at a church. So the whole thing started
Yes.
by creating the church. Wow, now I can't ask a question. I have to keep talking. So, because that is one thing that keeps coming up whenever I talk with my clients about diversity,
Mhm.
equity, and inclusion. They're okay to talk about race and gender,
Right.
but when we start talking about Pride Month, LGBTQ plus community, they automatically pause.
Mhm.
Wow, that time, and they say, well, it's this is, we're not comfortable with that. It's related to our faith. So what would you tell them?
You know, without getting extremely political, because I can, um, if you really look back and think about it, um, the Bible does, it does preach, treat everybody equally, your neighbor, so on and so forth. So if it's just about accepting, when it comes to diversity and inclusion, and it comes to LGBT, it's how can I accept these people, or how can I include them without ostracizing them? That's all it is. It's about true equity. Because up until a couple of years ago, before marriage equality, I couldn't put my husband on my insurance. Now I can. And that's a big thing, and that is a scary thing for a lot of people when they're going into job interviews here in the South, and they have a spouse now, in a same sex couple, and they want to add their spouse to insurance. It's like, how is that going to be looked at? I've always been lucky to work for amazing companies where I didn't have to hide my authentic self, because of me, they change the logo on Facebook every month, every year for Pride Month to be a big rainbow. So it's awesome that they do that, but you do have a lot of people that aren't as lucky. So it's finding ways to overcome them.
Yeah, we were talking last time, and you were mentioning about the translation of the Bible. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes. So one thing, there's this thing I follow on TikTok. They have a website. They're on YouTube, a lot of different social platforms. It's a 1946 project. So 1946 was the last time there was a large translation of the Bible. And the big thing that they talk about when it comes to LGBTQ is there's the part of the Bible that says man shall not lie with man. When there was a person in the translation that said, hey, this isn't right, something's wrong. This should have been translated to man shall not lie with boy in the form of pedophilia. So that really put a big spin on things. And that's a big thing throughout history. A lot of things get lost in translation. And that's a prime example of it.
Yeah. So not lie with a man, not lie with a boy.
Right.
They don't talk about women. How are
No,
women?
it just says man shall not lie with boy.
What is that?
It just said man shall not lie with boy. And, coming from someone that I grew up in a very religious household. My grandparents are devout Catholics, like extremely devout Catholics. And even though that they were the most accepting out of my whole family. Every time I talk to my grandmother and my grandfather, they ask about my husband before they ask about me. So it's like, okay, they're extremely accepting. And then there are still family members that aren't. But it's just a work in process, just like my husband's family at first had challenges, and it's getting better over time. It's once you get to know people and you break those thoughts that you have or the stereotypes that you were taught growing up, that it changes.
Yeah.
You kind of keyed into something there. It does seem, and it's kind of tough to say, but it does seem that when some of the older generations kind of pass on, there's going to be a whole lot more wider acceptance and tolerance and less resistance. It feels like the air is still kind of heavy out there, right? There's still so many out there that sort of have that, but it seems like the younger generations and and Dima can speak to this because she has a lot of background in this, but you know, I guess, what is it, Gen X and millennials and younger seem to be on board and have allyship built in. It's like default. So I guess I know it's kind of slow for me to evolve this thought, but it's kind of tough one to think about. You know, the people that we love have to kind of pass on for this to pass on and for us to sort of accept and have more wider just tolerance for people in general, and how they feel and what they choose to do, as long as they're not hurting anybody and it's not illegal. I know we can talk about that too. I'm sure you know there's all kinds of stuff around that, but if you're not hurting anybody, really, what is the harm?
Right.
And love is love. Is that not right?
Exactly. That's what it all boils down to. And speaking to that, there was a recent article or study that was released that more teenagers and college-age students are identifying as LGBT or non-binary than ever before. And, you know, the LGBTQ culture is evolving more. You have more spotlight on people that are in the media, you know, like Laverne Cox, you know, she's an amazing actor. She has all this exposure and she's using that for good for the trans community. You have TV shows like Pose, which was all over, that really brought to light the trans community, you know, and, you know, the HIV epidemic, which was really, the last season was hard to watch, you know, somebody that watched it from the beginning, but having those type of TV shows on primetime is really helpful. Having, you know, Disney write gay characters these days, it's easier for accepting things.
Wow. I didn't know about the Disney gay characters. Wow.
Yes.
I saw a research recently. It's aligned with what you're talking about, that millennials, like the percentage of individuals that belong to LGBTQ plus, they doubled in the millennial generation compared to the prior generations.
Right, and it's more people are outside of the binary now because there is no black and white to everything. And that's one of the queer conversations that we're actually doing. And if I remember correctly, that's our next big topic that we're working on for July, which is the intersectionality of gender, sex, and sexual orientation, because it's not all black and white.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really excited about that one. And our last one was on the trans identity, which was the growth, you know, of the trans community over time. And I'm not trans, but having friends that are trans, you know, to be part of an organization that gives these individuals a spotlight to tell their story so that other people can hear their story and that can help them. It's really important.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You know what is, it's got to be a hot topic and a tough one to discuss right now, but all the transgender stuff in sports, the bills, everything going back and forth. What is, you know, where do we kind of land on that one? I mean, that's got to be kind of a tough blow. But also, you know, what
it is.
Where are we on this one? Because it doesn't seem like this is, it's going nowhere fast, but it'd be a very heated topic.
It is a very heated topic, especially here in the South. I mean, think about it. We're the South, a lot of closed-mindedness. There's a lot of religion behind things. You know, people, you know, use that cloak. And, you know, the president of the Senate here in Louisiana is working on the first ever session to overturn a veto. And that's on that bill, which is you know, at first it was this awesome, you know, hey, you know, it didn't pass, you know. John Bel Edwards said, no, I'm standing by the trans community. And to have that, it is a blow, but it's something that we have to work towards. There's organizations like Louisiana Trans Advocates. Their president, Dylan, was a previous Grand Marshal. They do a lot of advocacy work for that, and not just here, but across the U.S. And really, in my personal viewpoint, if it's in school, what's the difference? You know, one of our previous speakers for our queer conversations talked about transitioning in the 90s from here in Baton Rouge at Bel Air High and having to work towards that. And they did sports, and there was nothing said about it. And to me, it's really a non-issue because there's not that many times that you're going to have that, you know, where trans youth is going to play sports and it's going to be an issue. And it's just like the bathroom bill thing. I mean, why are you worried about what bathroom somebody goes into? It's a non-issue.
That seemed to be the topic for about 2-3 years, and
yes.
I don't really hear much about it anymore.
Yeah,
it's
right.
No, people still talk about it. I still
you know, there's still talk, but it's not near what it was. Nowhere near what it was.
There was a bill in Tennessee that just passed where they have to do stuff, but where they have to post if they allow it or something. I don't know the exact, so don't quote me on it. But the Attorney General said in Tennessee said, I'm not going to enforce it. So, I mean, but the fact that the trans community is always under the microscope for something, just because people do not understand the differences between gender and sex, and that it's not always black and white. There's a lot of rainbow, if you want to put it that way, out there. And it wasn't until and it really wasn't until you really talk about colonization and the Western religion that became an issue, because the Native Americans had two-spirit individuals, which were individuals of what we would call transness, and they were thought of as a really high person in society. You know, your Aboriginals in Australia, they had trans individuals. Throughout India and Asia, it was very prevalent. And it wasn't until the white man goes into and starts colonizing these areas that it became an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, they considered, I was reading about it, they considered an individual who's trans is like they have special spiritual power, or something like higher, more evolved spiritually.
I didn't know that.
It's really interesting to read on, and I am by no means an expert on the subject. You know, I've just read on it, you know, here and there, and it's really interesting. I mean, I'm a history buff, so to read these different things on that, it's like, wow, it's really eye-opening to see how it's evolved in a downward cycle, and now we're having to really fight our way up. And if it weren't for the trans individuals and the drag queens, we wouldn't have the Pride movement that we had that started 51 years ago at Stonewall.
Yeah. So here's my other question. Oh, go ahead. What did you want to say?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Yeah. So my other question for you, you were mentioning earlier about the law related to blood, right?
Yes.
Like seeing blood, which I was so shocked. I never knew about it. So tell us about that, because I'm sure a lot of viewers may not know either.
Right. So in the 80s, in the beginning of the HIV epidemic, which was originally GRID, which was the gay cancer, they said gay men can't donate blood. And over time, it was that way for years. And then about a decade ago, they said, or maybe not exactly a decade, they said, hey, if you've been abstinent for a year, if you've not had sex with a man, you can donate blood. Well, in April of last year, when there was a huge blood shortage due to COVID, they said if you've been abstinent for 3 months, you can donate blood. And there's a study that is taking part in 8 cities across the U.S., and Baton Rouge is one of those cities. And we're actually going to be doing a lot of kickoff on this soon. It's called the Advanced Study, and I cannot remember exactly what it stands for, so I'll read it. It's Accessing Donor Variability and New Concepts in Eligibility. So it's a study to say that gay, bi, and men who have sex with men are no higher chance of donating blood with HIV than anyone else. That's what the whole study is about. And with that study, we're trying to find between 250 and 300 individuals to take part in the 9-month study here in Baton Rouge. And it's really amazing that Baton Rouge has the ability to be part of this study, because for many years we were very high on the cities for new HIV cases. And we're no longer in the top 5. We're going down. You know, there's a lot of testing and prep out there by a lot of different organizations. The mayor, Sharon Weston Broom, has put Baton Rouge as part of this commission. We have a commission to end the HIV epidemic here. So having, you know, officials out there that see the importance of this, you know, to get care out there so that people know what PrEP is, and know that U equals U. So if you're undetectable, you're taking your antiretrovirals, you're not going to transmit HIV to a sexual partner. And there's still a lot of stigma out there about HIV, and breaking that down is important. And I feel that a study like this, you know, will help that.
Dima, what I was going to ask really quick, Chris, what are some of the stigmas that are still out there, prevalent today, that we need to bring up, bring out, and talk about?
HIV is a huge one. I hate the terminology, hey, are you clean? That's a big thing that you hear out, you know, slang in the LGBTQ plus community, saying that HIV is dirty. Just because you have HIV doesn't mean you're any lower or less of a person than anyone else. And you can get it from a multitude of different ways, but to know that in today's world we have all of the medication that we have to treat it, it's not like in the beginning. You're gonna live just as healthy of a life. And that was, in my coming out, one of my family's biggest fears. Oh, you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. So to help people overcome that stigma is really important. And that's one of the things that we as an organization for Baton Rouge Pride are going to try to do over the next year. You know, not just through helping with the advanced study, but through testing, getting people on PrEP. You know, it's 1 pill a day, and it lowers your risk of HIV exposure, you know, or contracting HIV if exposed. And it's now a generic medicine that you can get. Yeah. Right. That's one of the big things. A couple other stigmas is just the whole trans bathroom thing, the trans sports thing. Things that, for me, being a part of the community, the LGBTQ plus community, it makes no sense, because it's like, can you give me the statistics on how many times this happens? And the answer is usually, well, and exactly, you can. So just tough.
And all of this is still based out of fear. We're assuming this is still based out of fear of just it not being, you know, tolerated or understood. Where do we feel like a lot of these sentiments are coming from still?
It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of not understanding, the fear that, or not really just fear, but the understanding and not wanting to accept difference. Because the thing that makes the human race so beautiful is individuality. You know, being able to express who you are, you know, because we're not carbon copies unless we're identical twins. But to have the differences, you know, to see that in people and know that, it's just amazing in my viewpoint. And, you know, for people to, like I said, being authentic, you know, to have that ability to be authentic, because I'm kind of bold when it comes to it. I will go to the grocery store wearing my Love is Love shirt, I will walk wherever wearing a Pride shirt. I'm going to hold my husband's hand in public. And if you say something, I'm probably not going to bite my tongue. So, and it's not everybody has that ability. I'm lucky. I'm that way. There are a lot of people that, still don't come out, for a multitude of reasons. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just know that if you do want to, there are people there for you. And that's where it comes to play with your chosen family. Because, we always have our family that we were born into, that a lot of times we butt heads with. Believe me, I know that very well. But you, over time, have your chosen family, your best friends. And my two best friends were in my wedding, and we hang out all the time. And we do family dinners. And it's about that sense of family that you form over time. So just because you come out and you feel ostracized by some people in your family, that's not the end of the world. You will develop your family over time.
Yeah, I agree. I always say we choose our friends, but we're stuck with our family.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, and that is one amazing thing, is to be able to have your chosen family. That no matter what, they're going to be there by your side, thick and thin. You'll get into arguments, and then 2 days later, you're texting and making up, because you truly do love each other as a family.
Yeah. So what are you doing to increase awareness within corporations? Because that's a big deal.
So,
I was doing research, and I found that 40% of the queer community members, they feel uncomfortable in work environments because of discrimination, and half of that, it's affecting their work performance. It's affecting. I think it's half, but that's what the research shows.
So here locally, we are working on restarting our business after hours program. So we did that. It's a networking mixer for queer or LGBTQ plus owned and allied businesses to come together and share ideas and network. And part of that is also building our business directory on our website, which is up to 60 some odd businesses and growing slowly. I have a couple more I need to add still. And having that resource out there for people is important. And for those business owners to come together and talk is helpful. And for other businesses to say, hey, what's going on with that? It starts the conversation. And that's the big thing, is starting that conversation so that you can help. And then we are working soon, going to be partnering with Visit Baton Rouge so that they can access our business directory, and they're going to be building an LGBT section of their website.
Awesome.
Which is really awesome, so that we can build that visibility throughout the city and the area, so people will know, hey, this is a very queer-friendly town. It is a college town. Baton Rouge, no matter what, it's going to be a college town. Just a little bit larger.
Wow. Good job, Visit Baton Rouge.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah, they have a great team over there, and anytime we're doing anything, I'm getting an email, a call, or a text. Hey, tell us about this. We want to put it on our website. We worked with Heather Day at Red Cake on doing our Badass VR drag brunch earlier this month, and I sent out one email blast, and within 15 minutes, I had an email back from 2 people over there. Hey, let's talk about this so we can get it on the website.
Wow.
That's some good support right there.
Right. And we worked with them a lot in the past. They've been a sponsor every year. They have their billboard coming in the Baton Rouge on the west side of the river. Every year they put up Pride on their billboard. They really promote it, which is really awesome. Whenever we're looking for additional sponsors or places to do things, it's just pick up the phone and call them, and they're like, hey, these places. So to know that there's a government-based organization here in Baton Rouge that does help people in our community is awesome.
And I think I know the answer, but I want to ask: are the events that you're planning inclusive to everybody to attend?
Yes, yes. So the majority of our events are, unless they are at a bar, which we do have a lot of those. A lot of drag shows are at George's or Splash. There's also Cedar Crest that's coming up, which is on Airline, which is really cool, which is lesbian-owned bar. But we're working on the Queer Conversations is all virtual so that we can reach more people. Because thinking about the type of people who are afraid to come out, or they just to have that resource that soon will be on YouTube and a podcast that we're working on is really awesome. And that's really those touchy subjects. Soon we're going to be doing one on. I'm trying to remember how Caleb put it because he's the brainchild of these. 21-year-old came up with all this, which is amazing.
Caleb's been busy over there.
Yeah, Caleb is busy. He graduated LSU this year, public relations degree. He's been doing all of our press releases. He's putting that degree to work.
Wow.
But it's going to be holidays and hardships, discussing the stressors of life, identity, and the upcoming holiday season for queer and questioning individuals. Because a lot of us, when we go home, we have to change face, and kind of step back. Not everybody is going to be the crazy person like me that's going to go in there and say, I don't give a F. So you're just going to have to deal with it. But that's going to be something that's going to be a really good conversation. And there's also another one for educators. Because there are a lot of teachers these days that, you have more youth that are coming out and they're around their teachers a lot, and their teachers, might say, hey, I know that you go by he, him, and your name is Johnny when you're at school. But when I talk to your parents, I need to say she, her, and Jane. That's one of the many things. And it's looking for those key identifiers and how can you help them. That's what that one's going to be about. And it's just having these conversations, to me, I think is extremely helpful.
Yeah. Teachers play a big role.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're a first line of defense, when the maybe parents don't accept it at home, but there's a little bit of breathing room at school, a little more acceptance with friends or their support circle and system there. So I like hearing about that. I think that's pretty awesome to empower teachers to have a few more resources up their sleeves as well, and to be able to identify this or have the right words or even just another place to turn to pass that information along. That is huge. Love that, Chris. Love that a lot.
Yeah. So that one I'm excited about. And then we are also asking the public, hey, there's a form on our website. Do you want to be a moderator? Do you want to be a part of the panel? Do you want to submit a question or a topic? Go at it. We can only come up with so much. So being able to reach out to everyone and say, hey, tell us what you think. Well, it's very, very important because, it's just a couple of us. We can only come up with so many ideas. So for the public to be able to reach out to us, Facebook, Instagram, through our website, whatever, to give us ideas is important.
Yeah.
So,
I'm following you on Instagram. I love it.
Oh, yeah. So we have Cole, who's at LSU, just turned 21. So we can go to the bars now to take pictures. But he is going to be curating all of our content on social. And he has big plans for a lot of different things that we're going to start doing so that we can really promote Pride outside of just Pride Fest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so Chris, you were talking about holidays and hardships, and then you had some links that you shared with us as well, which I thought were pretty cool. There was something about a Christmas gift drive too. What's that about?
Yes. So we started in 2019. We did donations on our website. and we actually did a donation to Diversity House, which is a youth shelter for LGBTQ plus individuals here in Baton Rouge. And the first year we raised right at $1,600. Fun story is my husband and I were at Target because we went and we got Christmas presents for them because that was part of it. We were going to give them the whole Christmas experience. They were getting Christmas presents. Aaron Moak, who's a council member now, Metro Council, showed up as Santa Claus. And they all got their Christmas presents. But while I was at Target, my husband and I were just standing in line. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot bags to put stuff in. This person in line actually went and got bags and gave us the bags, so we didn't have to buy them.
Wow.
Nice.
So, we actually did Christmas for them at one of our board members' houses. She had a huge house at the time, so we went through and we got food. They had the works. They had some fun games. They even got a drag show with Miranda in it. So it was pretty awesome to be able to do that. And yeah, you have the website up for that. And to see, the total youth population, youth homelessness in the LGBTQ plus community is huge. And having something like Youth Oasis here in Baton Rouge is really helpful. So yeah, the numbers are kind of staggering. That graphic is wrong on the right. I'm sorry about that. I just noticed it. It's the old one. But yeah, so that was one of our big things, and it was really fun to do. Like I said, we did over $1,600, in just a month, and we kicked that off with an event that we're going to be doing again. We're renaming it though. The first time we called it Orphans Thanksgiving. A lot of us, when we come out, some of us don't get invited to go back home for the holidays. So to have that Christmas dinner or that Thanksgiving dinner, was pretty cool when we did that. So we're working on doing that again. And there was actually a business, and I'm going to give them a shout out here in a second, that reached out to us as soon as we put it out there, and it's Smiley's Plumbing. And he said, hey, this is awesome. I want to give you money. I said, okay. I wasn't expecting, a lot. He sent us $500. He says, go and buy food for everybody to eat. Because he had a story about his family and his children when they came out, and it just really touched him. And to see businesses out there like him and Smiley's, really supporting the community in these events was just awesome.
Wow.
I love it.
So for someone who wants to learn more, where should they go?
So our website, brpride.org, is a huge resource. We have the business directory on there. We have all the stuff on queer conversations, the press releases. There's one about our, the proclamation we got this year, thanks to Councilmember Moak. He was able to get Pride Month. In the past, we just had Pride Day, but this year he was able to pull off Pride Month for us. So we actually have the Pride Month proclamation. But you can sign up to be a volunteer, be part of our volunteer base. You can be part of our mailing list. You can donate. We even have Pride merch on the website, so you can get some pretty cool t-shirts and stuff on there. And then also Facebook and Instagram are two big places that you'll get some fun stuff that you can share and get a laugh at. Some fun facts, some motivational quotes that we're going to be doing soon as well.
Wow. You guys are busy.
Very busy.
Wow. So,
and
so many things. Wow.
Yeah, everything is volunteer based. Everybody has a day job, whether it's being in GIS and still going out and performing drag shows for donations, or putting together queer conversation, ensuring that we have testing out there, doing the business after hours. It's all types of fun stuff that we all do, and it's all volunteer based.
Wow. So much for a small city, which is great. And I'm shocked. I've been here for 8 years and I never heard of anything related to this.
Yeah, we're slowly getting out there. It's being it's a little bit more acceptable now. You know, a lot more people are accepting of the LGBTQ plus community, and it's, you know, having, you know, Visit Baton Rouge help us out is a big part. You know, having visibility now as having an openly gay council member, you know, on the Metro Council does help us as well, because he can help fight for things for us, which is important. And having a lot of the businesses that are LGBT owned or allies, you know, standing up and doing stuff. And, you know, like Government Taco, they did a whole Pride Month thing. You know, there was Caliente that did a huge drag brunch, and they're doing drag brunch every month now. And they actually, oh yeah, they've raised a lot of money for us this month. They did these awesome Pride margarita flights. It was 6 margaritas, and it came out to be the Pride flag. Each one was a different flavor.
I love it.
How
Yeah,
fun.
$22, and they're giving us half.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got to meet the owner at the drag brunch. That was the brainchild, once again, of a Pride team member, Miranda or Carlos, going over there because they wanted to do a drag brunch. And he said, hey, how about this? And they're like, well, what do you think the chair will say? And Carlos is like, he'll do what I tell him to do. So in a lot of cases, that's how it happens. I'll do what he tells me to do, just because he has these great ideas.
Now I'm Googling where to go. So I'm Googling drag brunch Baton Rouge, but where do I go?
Yeah. So Caliente is going to be doing one every month. They'll be putting it up on their website soon. All the drag brunches that we've ever done, our first ever one for Pride was at Mestizos, which if you've not gone there, you're missing out. They do a lot of stuff for Pride, LGBT owned and operated. Jim, Wazelle, and Kendra are amazing, and they have their own hardships. You know, they've flooded how many times in the past 6 years? And then we did our first ever drag brunch there, and they flooded the week before. And I called Wazelle, and he's like, oh, we got it. 2 days later, they're open every time, going out at full blast. But our first ever drag brunch, we sold out 140 some odd seats in less than a week. And then we did the Badass VR drag brunch, which the tickets were a little pricey, but we had over 130 people in there, and we had those pictures on Facebook. It was a blast to have it. We had a DJ. It was catered by Chimes. It was an amazing time. And then Caliente is going to be doing it as well. That's going to be their thing once a month. I think it's the last Sunday. Don't quote me on that. But the next one is they're going to be themed drag brunches. The next one, if I remember correctly, is going to be Olympic themed. So there's going to be games and all kinds of fun stuff. Can't wait to go to that one. So yeah, and there's a lot of other LGBT owned or allied businesses, restaurants to check out. You know, like Bistro Byron's. They for years helped support Pride. So that's another good one. And then there's Tsunami and Struby's, which is where we had our very first business after hours. So, but we're going to be working on doing those again soon, working to find the right business and business owner to sponsor the next one.
Wow. So tell us about the sponsorship. What does it entail? How much and what do they get?
So for business after hours, it's pretty much, it's not really giving us any money. It's pretty much saying, committing to giving us the space, providing some hors d'oeuvres and light beverages like some sodas, some water, some wine, beer if you want. And if you want to fund a speaker, tell us what that speaker is going to talk about, how it relates to the LGBTQ plus community and business owners. And from there, we market it via email blasts, social media. Visit Baton Rouge will send it out as well for us. And it really not only spotlights your business, but your support for the community. because people will see, oh, this business is doing something for the community on our social media, and they're more likely to go to you because you think you're a safe place.
Yeah.
So, because our last one was at Mestizos, it was right before COVID. I unfortunately wasn't there because I had flu round 2 2020. Twice in less than 3 months sucked, but it was what it was. But we had over 30 people there. We had a really huge array of people. It was awesome. Before that, we did it at Coyote Moon, which is a really cool place for like some crystals and stones and incense and stuff. It's a really cool place. I will go crazy up in there. And then before that, it was Struby's. So COVID just really hit us hard like everybody else, but continuing to perpetuate our message has just been really important.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to share this week actually is a link that came up from a friend of mine. He shot this over. It was a TEDx Boulder talk about coming out of your closet by Ash Beckham. And it was, 10 and a half minutes. You got to laugh, you got to cry, you got real. And one of some of the ones that kind of hit me hard from this was hard is hard. Stop ranking your hard with my hard. That was a big point that I got from this. I thought that was amazing. And another one was, if you're going to be real with somebody, you've got to be ready for real in return.
Yep.
Coming from some of those conversations that are hard to have, that come out of nowhere. It was very thought-provoking. I liked it. I wanted to share that link. I got it on Monday and thought it was extremely appropriate to share today. But everyone go check that out too. I found that to be awesome.
Awesome.
I wanted to share that. Chris, do you have any final thoughts for us? Any information or things we didn't touch on? Like, what else can we share? What else is out there that we need to know?
Well, I'm just thankful that, Orhan got in touch with me and said, hey,
Love
you need
that
to touch
man.
this. Yeah, he's awesome. Actually, met him through the HIV Commission with the mayor's office, and he is really awesome. Just people need to think, your loved ones and those around you when you're saying things. My big thing is you may not know who is LGBT, because in the South, a lot of people do have to hide themselves. And just be accepting of everyone. That's the big thing for me. Allow people to be authentic. And just remember, if you are not in the closet, you're not out, you're in the closet, whatever, come out on your own. There's no rush. Do you. Do yourself. I was one that I was 18, I graduated high school, and the hinges came flying off. But you could be someone else, that may have gotten married and have kids and then decided, what, this isn't me. I'm tired of trying to fake it. There's no right, there's no wrong. And there's nothing wrong with being an ally. It's okay, to ask somebody their pronouns. That's a big thing right now. Like I always say, my pronouns are he, him. I was a big influencer with my job. I'm like, I want to have my pronouns in my email. I want them. I'm going to fight for that. Do that if you can. If you work in corporate America and your business doesn't do that, do it. It's important. It shows that you care. It's the little things.
What does it mean to you, Chris, when you have to ask for that, but you get it? Like, what does it mean for you when it's worth fighting for pronouns?
When I was able to, say, hey, I want this. I'm going to start doing this. I need you to put it in the corporate format for me. And I'm lucky because I don't get a lot of pushback because they know I'm going to make a big stake out of things. It's just my personality because I'm so passionate about it. But it's like, wow, they understand me, they get me, and to have a business do that, and what you never know the person on the other end. They may be LGBTQ, they may not be, but if they are, it's be like, oh, that company is on top of it. They understand me. I really want to work with them. And it can be also lead to the conversation of, why do you have your pronouns? And pronouns are important to, these days, because that's part of someone's identity, because there are people that identify, as they're transitioning differently, like a friend of mine identifies now as he, him, as they transitioned. And there's other people that are non-binary that don't conform to the norm, and they're they, them, which is completely okay. But being able to address someone appropriately is important. And if I remember correctly, that's our December queer conversation.
I remember the first time I saw the pronouns in an email signature or being used, and I did not understand.
Yeah.
It took a few times to see it, and it honestly, just seeing, in the parentheses, it made me ask. I had to ask. So
yeah.
I guess it was one of those things where I guess I didn't know how profound the pronoun would be for someone and what that means to them. That's why I kind of want to ask that question.
Yeah.
I think it's an important one, and not everyone understands it. So it's good to get that some more exposure out there when possible.
Right. Now, there are some businesses that they will actually put the pronouns as a hyperlink, which will be to a resource page on their own business's website to why are pronouns important. And there are a lot of different resources out there that you can get that from, like the HRC, from PFLAG, the Trevor Project. All these people, these businesses have these great resource pages that you can get that information from, so you can put that on your company website. That way, you click it and, oh, okay, that's why. It helps with that visibility.
I got to tell you too, it's like it's very subtle, but it takes a while for it to catch on. I didn't notice that the flag had changed, and then Dima put out an awesome blog. You got to check out Dima's blog on this. I had to read it too. I had no idea about the change. I saw it before I ever heard about it, and I mean that's kind of.
Yeah, there's been a couple iterations. So it was originally the original Pride flag that was created had 8 colors. So there was a pink and a light blue on it, and then those went away, and we had the 6 colors that you see today. And then there was a creator in Philadelphia that added black and brown to include people of color, and then of course we've had the trans flag for years. A couple years now. So now it's the trans Pride flag colors are incorporated, and it's called the Diversity Pride flag. And it really does symbolize how diverse the community is. There are a multitude of other flags that you'll see out there, from the lesbian flag to the gay flag. The drag queens have a flag. And it's really interesting when you get out there and look.
That's one of the nice things that I like about Pride is so much color. Like, I love it. In addition, of course, to increasing awareness and all of this good stuff, I just love all of these colors.
Yeah, it's fun. It makes life colorful.
Yeah. Chris, I am so glad we're connected. Thank you for making the time, even though it's end of the quarter for you and beginning of a new quarter and you're so busy. It was so much fun talking with you, and I can't wait for us to see you in person and to get to learn more from you, and of course participate in your events.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And look, we shot some links too at the bottom, so make sure you check those out. And this was a fun one, Chris. Thanks. I learned a lot today. It was good speaking to you as well. Thank you for being a guest on our show today.
Yeah, thank you all.
Well, I think that's it, Dima. We got some more shows coming up, right? July is like tomorrow.
Yes. Is that? No, it's on Friday.
Is it on Friday?
It's July tomorrow.
Look, I think it's tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, July is tomorrow.
It's coming up too fast. In a week from now, we got another show.
Yeah, well, next week we're taking off because it's the 4th of July week, and I wanted to spend time with my mom. I'm going to San Diego, so
Nice.
but the week after we have another amazing guest, and we're bringing Sandy back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot of wonderful things coming up. So
Good
we
stuff.
encourage everybody to continue to follow the Chit Chat with Dima and Rob and join us for these shows, whether live or they're recorded.
Absolutely. Y'all take it easy. Have a great one, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.